link. The link is here. I already shared the link. This is yours. Okay, this is yesterday discussion. I hope you have seen this one also. Okay. So today also I recorded. I'm recording, and also I will tell you. I will share you that link. So here it is a definitions from starting. Networking. Interconnection of two or more devices is called network. Communication between two or more interconnected devices is called a networking. Like you have a two devices, both are connected, or a two or more devices, all are connected. That is network. They are communicating each other. Means interconnected devices. Those interconnected devices are communicating each other. Called networking. So that is a network. You have a multiple networks. Different multiple networks are there. If you are able to connect it together, means not directly, means separately, means each network has their own network, it is separately, and we are able to connect these networks using a internetworking device, or using a device that connecting is internetwork. If you are make a communication between these networks called a internetworking. Okay, so networking, internetworking. Next one is type of networks. Main important for like a LAN, local area network, campus area network, MAN, metropolitan area network, WAN, wide area network. Okay, so LAN is a based on geographically. LAN is from single room, single floor, or entire building. We can consider the larger the LAN size is maximum single building, entire one building. Campus area network. In campuses, we have a multiple buildings. Think like each building is one LAN. Combination of all these LANs within the campus is called a combination of or connection of these LANs. Connection of these LANs as a single network called a campus area network. Means campus area network is a combination of multiple LANs, multiple sub LANs, but within the campus only. What is a MAN? Metropolitan area network. Means within the city, you have a multiple buildings, departments. Okay, so all are connected together, so they can able to communicate each other. It is a metropolitan area network, but within the city. WAN, wide area network. So these also lands of LAN only, but it is a wide area network. Means I'm in Hyderabad. My main server is in New Jersey. My other server is in London or Paris. I can able to sync my server to their server, direct connection. Maybe I'm accessing google.com, facebook.com, youtube.com for the WAN communication. Means for internet we are communicating. Of course, we are connecting to internet via WAN connectivity anyway. Of course, WAN and internet both are we can say same, and as well as not same always. WAN connectivity is a wide area network, global network. It can communicate from any one of the place to any another place in the different geographical location. Okay, that is a wide area network. Simply say LAN is local, WAN is public. Sorry, WAN is WAN is global, LAN is local, WAN is global. LAN is private, WAN is public. Okay. Campus and MAN are local only, guys. This is not a much wide kind of stuff. No internet part kind of stuff. So only within that particular size only, like within the campus and within the city only. Simply, it is a very large LAN network. Okay? Very large LAN network. So LAN is a local, LAN is a private. WAN is a global connection. WAN is public. Intranet and internet. Guys, internet, we are using internet to access google.com, facebook.com, whatsapp.com, all these things, amazon.com, flipkart.com, gmail.com, these are all we are accessing through internet. The public network we are accessing to public. Intranet, for example, your server in your local. For example, I have a laptop in my room, in my network. I have a server. I am communicating from my PC to that server. It is intranet. For example, I am communicating from my PC to another PC. Not required a server, it is I am communicating between two computers, two devices. Intra-network. Intra. Internet means I'm communicating outside of the network through the internet. Like I'm communicating google.com, youtube.com, facebook.com. I'm communicating over the what is a default gateway? As I said, in a LAN, you want to communicate from your PC to the next PC. We don't require any gateways. Don't require any gateway here. Just we will communicate within the LAN directly. But when you are communicating outside of your network, like you want to reach some google.com or facebook.com, savantis.com, there is the point you should go outside of your local, then only we can reach somewhere. For example, you sit in your room and you want to talk to the next person. Don't need to open the door, right? Both are in the same room, means directly communication, not required any door kind of stuff here. Opening door and all not. But your friend is outside of your room, and definitely you should open the door and go and talk to them. So that door we call it as here as a default gateway. Okay, default gateway. So router act like your default gateway. So you can get it out, sir. I have an internet. I have a router. And where is my default gateway? Where is my DHCP server? Where is my DNS server? Your router act like so many things. Nowadays we are using this Wi-Fi router kind of stuff. The router act like a modem. Router act like a switch or a hub. Router act like a Wi-Fi access point. Router is act like a router. Router act like a modem. All devices. And router act like a default gateway. So when you want to communicate outside of your network, the router is, we have to go through the router only. So router act like a default gateway. And you are getting an IP address. When you are connected to the network, you will get an IP address from your router only. Means router act like a DHCP server. You open a google.com, facebook.com, youtube.com, but you don't know the IP address of youtube.com. You don't know the IP address of google.com. You will get an IP address of google.com. From whom? You are getting an IP address. Who is giving the IP address of youtube.com, facebook.com? Who is giving you an IP address? Who will give you? The answer? DNS server. DNS server will give you IP address of Facebook.com. You enter the Facebook.com, you don't know the IP address of Facebook.com. Okay, so you have to communicate Facebook.com with an IP address, but you don't know. So who will give the IP address of Facebook.com is your local DNS. Okay? So your router act like your DNS server, router act like a DHCP server, router act like a default gateway to communicate outside anyway. Okay? So this is a default gateway, guys. When you want to communicate from your local network to outside of your local network, you have to go through the default gateway. In generally, in our home network, our router is act like a default gateway. Guys, up to here, okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, what is NIC? Network Interface Card. NIC is to connect the network. Like I have a device, I have a laptop, I want to connect to a network. I need an NIC. I have a mobile phone, I want to connect it to network, and I need an NIC. Okay, so you have a device, you want to connect it to network, you need a NIC. Nowadays, we are having wired and wireless interfaces. Like your mobile phone by default, it is wireless interface. Laptops usually are having, we are having a, um, usually we are having a wired and wireless. Usually we are having a wired and wireless. Like a Wi-Fi wise also we can able to connect it. With wire also we can able to connect it. Both are NICs. Both are in mobile only Wi-Fi. So just kind of stuff like to connect in the network directly. Okay, that is NIC. NIC means network interface card. Next one is, so in NICs, one of the type is LAN card or Ethernet card. LAN card or Ethernet card, it is look like that Ethernet cards you can insert into your regular desktop. So we can connect with a wire to get a connected to network. Okay. These type of cards are LAN cards or Ethernet cards. It contains a LAN port or a RJ45 port. LAN port we call it as a RJ45 port. These Ethernets are different type of Ethernets are there. Ethernet, fast Ethernet, and gigabit Ethernet. Ethernet is 10 Mbps, fast Ethernet 100 Mbps, gigabit Ethernet 1000 Mbps. Ethernet cards have a unique, sorry, that is the point. Okay, we have a NIC, one variant I said Ethernet, fast Ethernet and gigabit Ethernet. So 10 Mbps, 100 Mbps, and 1000 Mbps. Okay, now so we'll see each NIC, either Ethernet type means wired connection or a Wi-Fi type means like a wireless connection type. The NICs are having a MAC address on it. Each and every NIC has a MAC address in it. What is a MAC address? It is media access control. What is MAC address? Media access control. Okay, MAC address, media access control, which is assigned to the NIC by manufacturer of that NIC only. In my case, in my laptop, it's a Qualcomm Ethos. Qualcomm company build my Wi-Fi adapter, and it is assigned an the manufacturer company put this MAC address on the my NIC. Okay, so here it is, guys. Again, so what is NIC? Network interface card. To connect into to the network, so we need an NIC. Each NIC having a MAC address, it is unique address, it is 48 bit represented in 12 hexa. Okay, represented in 12 hexa. Example, we can also see on the screen, that is how MAC addresses look like. Okay, MAC address is also called as a physical address or a hardware address. MAC address is given by manufacturer of NIC. Manufacturer of NIC. You cannot change the MAC address. You can change the IP address, but you cannot change the MAC address. MAC spoofing is possible, means you can duplicate your MAC address using certain softwares to communicate outside. Okay, so that is possible, but we cannot. Original MAC address cannot be changed. MAC works in LAN, but actually we are not communicating with the MAC address. We are all communicate with IP address only, not with the MAC address. MAC binding is possible. Okay, so we are connected in the wireless network. We are connected in the wireless network. So you are connected in the wireless network. I'm meeting. We are connected in the wireless network, so people know the password of your Wi-Fi. They'll try to connect it to your Wi-Fi router. So I can do like this. I will create a list. Yellow only these devices if their MAC address is matches to our list. So I'll enter my devices MAC address into the router, and I put a rule that is yellow all these devices with these MAC addresses, not allow other devices if MAC address is not matches. That is called a MAC binding, the Wi-Fi network. Of course, we are not communicating with the MAC address directly with the, you cannot address any device directly with the MAC address. MAC address is very useful to recognize the device, identifying the devices. Okay. Of course, all communications by IP address only. IP address is given by the user or maybe a DHCP server. Automatically IP address you will get automatically, or by can be assigned manually. MAC address is given by the manufacturer of NIC. So IP address, we have IPv4, IPv6 versions. MAC address do not have any versions. IP address, IPv4 32-bit, IPv6 128, whereas MAC address is 38-bit, represented in 12 hexa decimal. IP address can be changeable according to the network, either manual or automatically, but MAC address, either it is manual network or automatic assigning an IP address, whatever it is, MAC address cannot be changed. Like that, devices is directly make more their self as a unique because of the MAC address. What I'm speaking also now. How to check this MAC address? Go to ncpa.cpl or go to control panel, network and sharing center. Change adapter settings, network connections, or you can go to run and type ncpa.cpl. There also you can find some adapters like this. So few adapters are gone. Why? Because of I deleted my VMware workstation kind of stuff yesterday evening. So this is my adapters details. This is MAC address. Of course, this is IP address. This is MAC. It is noted as a physical address. This is how to find IP address and MAC address. And also you can use command prompt like a get MAC. So you'll get a IP address and MAC addresses, but problem is you don't know which one is belongs to which one. You can use IP config, but you cannot find a MAC address here, but only you can find your IP address. Another way is IP config space / all. So then you'll get a IP address. IP config all also shows IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, along with DHCP and DNS server address. There is a lease obtained and lease expiry. Also, it is showing mainly physical address means it is an IP address. Sorry, MAC address. Physical address is a MAC address. Logical address is a IP address. So this is the blinking status of wide connection. So you can see that one. Both are dark means no connection. Activity is dark means no connection. Activity is blinking yellow and link is dark means 10 Mbps connection. Green LED 100 Mbps, amber means 1000 Mbps in link status. Okay. Important is that activity, the yellow light should be blink or green. Yellow or green should be blink. This is not required now. So what is bit white? Let's understand up to here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Already we know, just a revision kind of stuff. Different type of cables use it. Coaxial cable, UTP STP cable, and fiber optical cables. What is the difference? What is what? Coaxial cables. There is a center wire which is used to transfer the data. So mostly it is a off duplex or a simplex type of communication only. But still it is support up to 800 meters. Main signal is passes through this main central copper wire. Okay. It is covered with insulator, and the insulator is again covered with the copper mesh. Copper mesh is again covered with some kind of outer jacket kind of. So what is the use of this copper mesh? It protects your cable data from electromagnetic interference. What is electromagnetic interference? You are getting a mobile signal, it is a EMI. Electromagnetic interference only you are getting a mobile phone signal. The next one is copper type twisted pair cable. Unshielded twisted pair cable, shielded twisted pair cables. The number of twist increases, attenuation decreases, data transmission speed is increases. Okay. In shielded twisted pair cable, on shielded twisted pair cable, there is a copper shielding. Because of this copper shielding, so your cable data transmission is not affected with the electromagnetic interference. So copper mesh support like a protects your main data from electromagnetic interference, which cause the crosstalk. Crosstalk means mixture of signals. So your coaxial cables and twisted pair cables are copper cables. Data transmission speed is limited and cost is also increases. Cost is also increases because copper is a one of the rare metal and costly metal. Right? So like a gold, silver, copper. So like a copper. Next. These twisted pair cables, either a UTP or STP having 8 wires, also called as a 4-pair cable. These 8 out of 8, 4 wires are having a permanent color wires are there, blue, orange, green, brown. And there is having the pairing white color wires also there. Means each color paired with their white color. Like a orange, white, white, orange, green, white, green, blue, white, blue, brown, white, blue, kind of stuff. We have a cable with different categories: Cat 1, Cat 2, Cat 3, Cat 4, Cat 5, Cat 5e, Cat 6. Okay. So mostly like a Cat 4 is 10 Mbps speed connectivity, or 16 Mbps data transmission means we use it for a 10 Mbps type of connections. Cat 5 is 100 Mbps, Cat 5e is 500 to 600, Cat 6 is 1 Gbps. Please check once cables and their speeds in different test works. Just a chart, no guarantee it is correct information. Use different tools, UTP, STP cables type, okay. Testing tools are there, cable is good or not, crimping tool to create a cable kind of. Patch cables. What is a patch cable? Simply a LAN cable. Patch cable is nothing but a simple LAN cable. Also called as a patch cable, so which we are using to connect your system to your network. Either for a wall mount or directly switch, we can able to connect. Called a patch cable. Simple LAN cable. Next is a fiber optical cables. Fiber optical cables are not made up of copper, it is made up of glass. It is a material wise, it is cheaper and it is not a metal, so obviously no electromagnetic interference. No attenuation, no electromagnetic interference, no crosstalk, right? Data high speed transmission, very high speed data transmission is there, very long distance data transmission possible. Now some people will suggest, instead of using a LAN this UTP, STP cables, use fiber optical cables because fiber optical cables are cheaper. Of course, it may be a cheaper, but the overall cost will be effective. See this? You have a cable, then you need an interface. Then interface and switches, routers, everything should be in a fiber optical. Then cost is increases, maintenance cost. Next, cable connectivity also difficult. Not much easy. Again, it will require a training. Of course, the properly you have to test every time to make that cable that does not damage some. But it is very useful and very cheaper in a certain comparisons. For example, we are not using fiber optical cables in our LAN communication, but in a server side storages, okay, to communicate to the storage devices, servers, core networking side, use this kind of fiber channels. Next, we are all getting internet through fiber only. Fiber optical cables only, we are getting internet. Not only just your home router, like a Geo router or Airtel router kind of stuff, but globally, we're all connected to these fiber optical cables, which is under seas also. Okay, which under oceans, the cables are run, it will connect one country to another country, so we can transfer the data. So this is about a fiber optical cables. Guys, okay with the cables? This is single shot only, guys. We have a very less time. No one is speaking. Are you able to hear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we'll see the devices, guys. Devices also very important. In a network and as well as for our interviews. Hub hub is a hub switches, routers, modems. These are the four devices are very important devices. Knowing about each device and differences also very important. N plus 5. It is a hub used in a small networks, hub used for a LAN communication. Hub is a not an intelligent device. Hub broadcast message to everyone. Means A want to send a packet to B. So what hub will do? So the A is sending a packet to B, but hub send that same packet to everyone in the network. It broadcasts to everyone, every device. It is layer 1 device as per OSI. It is a layer 1 device, physical layer device it is. It does not understand IP address and MAC address. This hub also act like a repeater used in a LAN communication. Small networks are better. Don't go with large size of network. Large size of networks may damage packets. Why? Because of broadcasting cause number of more collisions. More number of collisions cause more data loss. Okay, this is about hub. Coming to the switch, guys, switch and hub both are used for LAN communication. Remember, switch and hub both are for LAN communication, both are star topology only. Okay, both are star topology only. But switch is an intelligent device, means it can understand MAC address. Understand MAC address, it create a MAC address table by device MAC address and switch port number. See that switch port number and the device MAC address. So it learn automatically MAC address of the devices and create this MAC address table. So switch function initially like your hub, like it broadcast message to everyone type, but once it is created a MAC address table, so it is once it is created a MAC address table, it unicast the messages. Okay, the switches having more number of ports also possible, like a 8 port switches, 16 port switches, 24 port switches, 48 port switches are there. The number of ports increases, number of devices we can connect it. And it is in the star topology, means one switch to another switch, we can easily connect it. Okay, so one switch to another switch, like we can create a large networks also. Large number of devices we can connect it, large network we can able to create it, and both small and large networks we can use it. It is layer 2 device as per OS layer, data link layer. Why data link layer? Because data link layer having a MAC address. To understand MAC address. Next, what is the layer 3 switch? Layer 3 switch. Layer 3 means, as per OSA, layer 3 means network layer. Network layer means routed and routing protocols. Example, like a router dealing with IP addresses and routing kind of concepts, right? So your switches act like a both router and as well as a switch. That is L3 switches. Guys, again, hub and switches. Hub and switches both are working in a LAN communication. Hub is better for a small network, but switches for both small and large network. hub do not have anything to understand like a IP address and MAC address, but your switch can understand MAC address, right? Right. So it will switch will create a MAC address table. So hub broadcast the message to every device which is connected to it, but switch is not broadcast. It will unicast the message to the destination device using MAC address table. Of course, switch is a layer 2 device, hub is a layer 1 device. Both are used for LAN communication, but switch is for both small and large networks. Large number of devices also we can connect in the switch kind of networks. Guys, okay, hub and switch.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Next one is router. Next one is the router. Router is different. Router is different from here. Okay, guys, in our home router is do lot of functions. In our home, we have a Wi-Fi router that do lot of different functions. Personal router will do only certain functions. Okay, of course, certain features also there in a regular routers also having same as your home Wi-Fi router, but there is a certain limitation. Small differences. Okay, so generally router means it is an intelligent device. Of course, it can understand logical addressing means IP address kind of stuff. It will understand. And router shows the best path to reach the destination. So I am here. I want to reach google.com. But how can I reach the google.com? Which path it is? So that router will forward our packet in towards the best path to reach the destination. Router is an inter-networking device. Just before we start, means not before we start, at starting only I told networking, inter-networking. What is inter-networking? Connection of two or more, communication between two or more networks. The router is an inter-networking device. Router is an inter-networking device. Router connects to the both LAN and WAN connections. Router is connected to both LANs and WAN connection. Means internally LAN communication is there, externally WAN communication is also. It is layer 3 device. It is a network layer. Again, switch to router differences. Switch to, I will tell about router for some more point, but when we say come to the differences, switch to router differences. Switch is LAN, which is used for a LAN communication only. Router used for LAN and is used for LAN communications. Router is it connects both LAN and WAN. Okay, switch is a layer 2 device. Router is layer 3 device. Switch understand MAC address. Router understand IP address. Switch understand MAC address. Router understand IP address. Okay, so switch create a network. Using switch, you can create a network. You can form a network. Router, using router, you connect the networks. Using switch, you create a network. Using router, we can connect the networks. We can connect the networks. So that's the differences. Okay. Of course, about a router is still there because router will connect the different networks and forward the packets through these networks using routing tables. Router or router. Route means path. Router shows best path to reach the destination. Router use routing tables and it will be created by manually or automatically by dynamic routing protocols. That is called a dynamic routing like EIGRP, OSPF, IGRP, RIP, BGP, ISAS. These are different protocols are there. Get communicate in the WAN communication and whole global communication. We are using this. So whatever it is, so you are communicating to google.com. So from your PC to your local router, then ISP to some other router, some other router. So finally you reach the destination. These routers are just like a bus stops or a railway stops, railway junctions. Okay, so you have to cross it, then only to reach the destination. So whatever it is, guys, we are all communicating now through internet. So because of router showing the best path to reach destination. How to reach the destination will tell by router. So hub and switch differences, switch and router differences are okay. Next one is modem. What is modem? Modem is modulator and demodulator. Modem is make you to connect to the ISP for internet connectivity. Okay, so we are connecting to internet through ISP provider, internet service provider. So our modem is connected to ISP. When you turn on your modem, the information go to ISP, ISP verify your identity, and ISP start giving internet to your modem. Once your modem is received internet, the internet is given to your router, router distributed to your network. You have a wired devices, so then we are connecting your router to your switches, switch to wired devices like a desktops. Okay, and you have a wireless devices, then what to do? You have a wireless devices like a mobile phone, laptops, or maybe a tabs. Okay, you have a wireless devices, then we have to install the wireless access point. Wireless access point. Okay, so nowadays we are using our home Wi-Fi routers. Okay, we are using our home Wi-Fi router. So that is combination of your modem, which you have a WAN port is there. That is part is like a modem which connected to your ISP. Next one is you have a LAN ports. So then we can connect like a switches, wired devices, we can connect it. Wireless devices also connected because it's anyway Wi-Fi. Router do routing part. Okay, so your one single Wi-Fi router is act like a modem, router, wireless access point, and a wired. Guys, you connected devices through wire connection. Like if there is a switch and there is a computers, you are connected. That is called a LAN, right? You have a switch. There is a switch. You connected 10 computers. That is called a LAN. There is a 10 wireless devices, and you are connected like a LAN wirelessly. That is called a WLAN, wireless LAN. Wireless LAN. To create a wireless LAN, we need a wireless access point. To create a LAN, we need a switch or a hub. Okay. So router is a route the packets between this LAN to outside of the network. Anyway, what is a modem, modulator and demodulator? So in our local network entirely, we use regular digital type of signal only. So to communicate outside of the network, to send our packets to the ISP is far away from our home. So we have to convert the signal into analog form and send through the telephone wires or a fiber optical wires. Nowadays we are having fiber optical connections, right? Nowadays we are using fiber optical way of connectivity. So through fiber optical way wires or maybe a telephone wires, we are sending a signal. That is also done by your modem. Okay. Again, guys, your router act like a modem. Generally, in our home routers, act like a modem to connect to the ISP to get internet, and it is also act like a wireless access point to connect wireless devices, and it is having a wire connections, wide connection types to connect like through wire also you can able to connect to that their backside LAN ports. Okay, your router act like your default gateway. When you want to communicate outside of your LAN communication, then you can communicate through your Wi-Fi router. So that is your default gateway. And of course, we are not having any DHCP server, but we are getting an IP address from Wi-Fi router. That is called a. Okay, so we are getting an IP address from our Wi-Fi router. So our Wi-Fi router act like a DHCP server. We don't have any separate DHCP server. So our Wi-Fi router act like a DHCP server. And of course, we don't have any DNS server to resolve the IP address, like get IP address of facebook.com or gmail.com. Okay, so we don't have any separate DNS server. Of course, our Wi-Fi router act like a local DNS server. So these are all the diagram only, guys, how it is connected. Okay, so our time is up, and I have a class at 3:30, and I didn't eat anything since morning. Okay, I think those people also joined. But now, Alan, guys, understand up to this point.
Yes, sir.
At least you recollected something you learned.
Yes, sir.
So I will continue remaining part in the next class. So like that only, guys, what is what? Read it, what is what? When you reading it also, the same time differences. Like read about physical topologies, bus, ring, mesh topologies. But first of all, what is what? Then differences, advantages, disadvantages. That's it. Okay. Always for everything. What is an IP address? What is the difference between IP and MAC address? What is the difference between IPv4, IPv6? What is the difference between what is the subnet mask and what is the use of subnet mask? The class A, class B, class C subnet mask. That's it. What is the OS layer? 7 layers. 7 layers. What are those 7 layers? What is the use of those each and every layer or overall OS layer? Difference between OS layer and TCP IP layer. What is the different protocols? What is the use of those protocols? What is their port numbers? So only what it is. Then keep practicing how to speak out. Okay? That's what I'm trying to say.